I wanted to show you how we built a outbound campaign on Instantly that is currently generating one positive response for every 88 people contacted. So if you're struggling with outbound, you're not sure how to scale your outbound in any way, then this video is for you, and I will run you through basically step by step of how we're being able to generate these results. And on top of this, obviously, we're booking a ton of sales calls and closing deals from this campaign as well. And I'm also going to show you the back end of how we deal with the inbox management after. So if you stick around to the end, I'll run through that. So firstly, just kind of give you an idea of what the sequence actually looks like. So it's very simple in terms of the copy. I'm just quite literally going to give away everything here in this video. This is what's been working for us. First name, meeting. We just run spin tags basically on this subject line, which works quite well. And then, so if you preview what this actually looks like, out of the blue question, but mine for a 5-minute video on how company name could leverage video outreach. This is just the mechanism that we're using to target. And then we put in their ICP, marketing teams needing help with visual representation. And it's basically like a summary of what they do. And then can I send it over? And then we help with X, Y, and Z, right? So that's the first email. And then the second email, we will generate ideas, which is basically thought you might find this useful. Here's 3 ideas. I think this is actually interesting. There's a slight error in this actually, so I need to correct that. But yeah, you get the point here. We've got 3 ideas that are generated, and then have you thought about doing any of these? Cool. So that's kind of how it works. So let me show you what the clay table actually looks like. On the back end. So what we've done is we've built the initial data set from Sales Navigator. So we just put in different criteria and so on in terms of founders. So we're basically targeting B2B founders on Sales Nav. So it's a relatively large market. We've got a large lead list here. We run them through validation. So we export with Prospeo from Sales Nav. We've run them through validation. We find their work email if they don't have it. So they go through a bit of a waterfall. So you can see here if it's empty, then they'll go through a waterfall. We use Lead Magic. We use Enrichly. We use Find Email. And then we have the final valid emails here, basically. You've got all this data, et cetera, et cetera. What I really care about is number 1, the website, and number 2, the LinkedIn company description, and how we're able to actually create our personalized copy. So what we do, you can see here, company summary. What we actually do is we'll scrape the website. So I'd like you to visit the website and then output a summary between 200 to 250. So what we're doing here is if you don't have, for example, the LinkedIn company description or in the about LinkedIn, about section on LinkedIn, you can just use this as a way to kind of get around that by using Claygen, and then you don't have to spend a credit basically to enrich the company or get information on the company here. Use just GPT-4 Mini, and then it will basically output what they do. So you can see here, experienced HR consultant, yada yada. This is what this person does or this company does, right, based on their website. Then we classify them. So we will classify if they are a B2B or not a B2B, basically from their company description, because obviously we only want to be reaching out to B2Bs here. And this is actually just as one point. So whatever database that you use, there's usually a large part of that database, whatever filters you use, no matter how refined you get it, will be a little bit wrong. So this is why you want to use AI and lead scoring, all this kind of stuff, just to make sure you're filtering out anyone that's not a good fit, which will ultimately reduce your spam complaints and stuff, because you're only reaching out to companies that are actually a much better fit. So review, this is the prompt here, review this company, classify it either B2B or no fit, and then we just, here. This is give it a brief definition of what a B2B company is. So it'll do that. I also input the LinkedIn company description, but you don't need to if you don't have that. We just obviously, because we're pulling this data from SalesNav, we've got that. We then normalize the company name. We always do it with AI now. We don't use the normalize within Clay, just because it's not the most accurate, annoyingly. So whereas with AI, we've created a really good prompt that we now use over and over again, basically. So you can see here, this is the prompt. So that's kind of how we do. If you want to pause it and read through, I don't know if it's going to show you the whole thing, but you can pause at any point and read through if you want. Cool. So we normalize company name because we're using that. So you're not reaching out and saying hi, ABC LLC or whatever. Just looks weird. Then what we do is, now that we've got the description, and now that they are we know that they're a B2B company, and we're reaching out to the right fit kinds of prospects, we then want to create our variables for our copy, right? So if we come over to here, you can see the variables for our copy are ICP and what they do. Yeah. So ICP, we can go HR, sorry, not HR professionals, but if you come into here and we look at the prompts, and again, we're only ever using GPT-4o Mini. So analyze the company description, and then it will give it like a whole bunch of rules essentially to follow. So it has some structure and some guardrails essentially not to go off. So you can see like how it will then shorten the words and make them a little bit more colloquial and casual, as opposed to, otherwise it just doesn't. So it looks a little bit more human. Otherwise it looks a bit weird. And then we give it the company description. Again, if you have the LinkedIn one, great. But if not, you can just use the company description that we've been pulled from their website as to what they do. And then from there, you can basically get the AI to decipher who is their ICP, right? They've given you a description of what they do and who they sell to and so on. So you just take a little summary of that and go like, cool, they sell to HR, they sell to professional services, they sell to marketing teams, or so on and so forth, right? And this could still use a little bit more refinement. Like, I'm not a big fan of this prof services, but anything, it can always use some refinement, but you get the point here. So ops teams, high net worth, tech startups, like it's still pretty it works really well. The next one is what they do. So video outreach to target ICP needing help with what they do. This what they do is just basically, what does the company do? Like, do they offer marketing services? Do they offer branding services? Do they help with Google Ads? Do they, offer like an AI workflow builder or whatever? Like, whatever they do, is it an HR software? Like, just basically, what do they do? So if you come into here and have a look at the prompt here, analyze the company description, and then again, it's like very similar. So we're giving it a lot of constraints and giving examples of good outputs, and then obviously just giving it some what not to do. But essentially, this will take, again, the company description, and it will find what do they do, right? What do they offer? So you can see here, HR transformation. And if we looked at their description, we can see HR consultant, right? So obviously they target HR. Services on HR analytics, enhance their human resources practices, right? So that's pretty obvious. HR professionals, and they help them do HR transformation, essentially, right? So it's just a rough idea here. I would actually prefer this if it was just HR. But again, you can refine it even more. We do a second one because actually in a previous version of copy, we in email 1, we did one ICP. In email 2, we did another ICP to make it look different. So we didn't just use the same variable for number 1 and number 2, basically. But yeah, so that's kind of what we did here, which is why we've got number 2. Target industry. So this is maybe like a little bit broader. Again, we use this in a follow-up email. We changed it over time, but we still have it in this initial table. So this is kind of like who they target in terms of their industry, very similar to the other ones, but it's just slightly different. And then what we do, this is quite interesting here. So we generate ideas, AI ideas, in the third email. In the second email. And what we're doing when we're generating these ideas is basically saying, here's a bunch of context on what we do. Here's a bunch of context on what they do. How can we now give them some ideas of how we could help them that is very tailored to them, essentially? So in this example, we're using like LinkedIn video, but here we would say, here's some ideas you could use, create a personalized video message for HR leaders, seeking HR tech transformation, video invitation senior HR professionals for exclusive workshops on HR analytics. So again, it's very specific to what they do. And what we do here is we take information from the website that we're working with. So this is the client prospect, the client's website. We'll put all of that in Claude. We'll then create a summary of that. We'll then take that summary and we'll put it into our clay table here as to what they do. And what they offer, and then we'll basically feed that into the prompt, because otherwise if you put all the summary into here, then it doesn't quite work. So we need it to be a dynamic variable, which is basically what we do. So we add it into one of the columns and we just copy paste it across all the columns, and then it has information that you can now use when you're creating these ideas on how you actually specifically help them, as opposed to just saying create some ideas, right? And this works quite well. You can actually see the results here. So if you go to analytics, we've gotten 14 positive responses from this so far from, about 8. I mean, it's not like incredible or anything. I would say this is pretty much better, but it's a follow-up email. So, but it still works and does the job. And it's very easy to like automate and to do it at a very large scale. You can see here there's like 10,000 plus prospects. And that's pretty much it. And there's some errors in here actually that I'm seeing right now, but these can obviously easily be fixed if you just come into the prompt and just shift the prompt a little bit. So that's kind of how we built this, and then we'll just push it directly to instantly and then send out from instantly. We do a little bit of quality control at the start, basically to make sure that the initial one, so when we build the workflow, we want to make sure that the workflow is everything is working smoothly, and we do all the checks. And then after that, then we just add leads, basically, and then they'll go through the workflow. So that's kind of how it's been working so far. I'll show you what we're doing for the follow-ups. So if we come over to subsequences, whenever a lead responds positively, we've got basically an automated system, well, it's like 90% automated, that will essentially send them a follow-up email. So in the initial email, we are saying, hey, would you like to see a video on how we can help you reach more of your ideal prospects, essentially, right? And then we're actually naming their ideal prospects. So it's very personalized and relevant to them. And obviously it's low friction, so sure, why not? So what we're doing is we then send them a video. And in this video, we just record one Loom video. We tried different tools and stuff. Well, actually, we've tried and tested Vinner. Actually, I was going to mention them. So we've tried and tested Vinner. We're using Loom at the moment as well, just because it's just a little bit simpler from our side in terms of setting up and everything. But you can also use Vinner. They allow you to do like personalized landing pages and stuff, and they look pretty good. It's just we don't have the time to be able to like get it all fixed and sorted, so we're just using Loom. But for the time being, I mean, we recently used Vinner, and essentially how it would work is when the prospect responds and says, hey, I'm interested, we literally just have one person sitting in the inbox all day that will just change the tag, and all they need to do is just change the tag to send video subsequence. And then this will come in and then it will trigger, and they'll basically get sent this response within 10 minutes of them responding, or within the 10 minutes of the tag being changed. And they'll just get, thanks for this, here's video, and then they'll send the video basically. I wonder if it actually shows up. No, it's not sure. Oh yeah. Yeah, so showing up, and you can see here, it's got the website in the background as well, which is pretty cool. So again, it looks like even more personalized. So if you want to set that up, feel free to check out Vinner. They're pretty cool. And then there'll just be a series of follow-ups after this that will basically, if the prospect doesn't respond, they'll get these follow-ups. If they do book a meeting in directly, then we have an automation that will stop sending the follow-ups as well. And then just make sure within the subsequence you wait 0 days. So that's basically it, and how we've been able to generate these results pretty much in the past. Was this like a month now, less than a month with this campaign. So we've had nearly 100 opportunities in about 3 weeks from sending under 10,000 emails. And we've closed, like I said, many deals from it. And we've also booked many appointments from it as well. So it's like a 95% automated system. You quite literally, 95%, I would say. You just literally have someone sitting in the inbox changing the tag statuses. That's about it. Other than that, it just runs and books your sales calls. So if you're interested in doing the same, feel free to book a call below or check out more of our YouTube content to learn more about what we do. Cheers.